Are you afraid to move forward? Does the next step feel overwhelming? Do your dreams and goals seem too far out of reach? The only thing that really stops us from moving ahead is our own thoughts, is our own fear. We fear, how will we get there? That journey seems long, that destination seems impossible. But it all starts with just one step. Take one step every day and you're well on your way to victory. My name is Angela Cleary. I'm a feminine empowerment coach. I specialise in healing after narcissistic abuse, and I also offer twin flame and spiritual guidance. This is it. Like, we think, oh my God, who am I to do this? How am I even going to get there? But if you have a vision, if you have a dream, if you have a calling, which we all do, then the only thing we need to do is believe and take a baby step forward every day. Because if we improve ourselves by 1% every single day, we will get so far in 6 months, a year, and 5 years. So what we do is we freak out. And I do this myself. I was in a deep healing journey and I had another relapse and I was like, oh my God, I have no direction. I don't know where I'm going. I lost my passions. I didn't know what my purpose was. Then I discovered coaching was my purpose and I freaked out. I freaked out because I was like, oh my God, I can't. I'm still in the depths of this healing. How am I going to achieve this? This seems impossible. But yet I was determined and I could feel it in my soul. And that's all we need. All we need is that spark, because that spark will push us forward anyway. That intention is going to push us forward, because our purpose is going to be, it's going to be difficult, but it's also going to be effortless. Because with every step or every intention we make, the universe will actually pull us forward even further. Like we don't see a path. We don't. It freaks us out. Like, it's like, oh my God, I'll just go back the old way. I'll just do the old thing. I can see the track. Everyone's walked it. I can just follow them. And it just seems so much easier to stay in our comfort zone. And like, the path ahead for our purpose, it's invisible. And it actually only starts to unfold with each step we take. And as I said, I freaked out. I was looking at this end goal and I was like, oh my God, I want to do coaching. How am I going to do that? How am I going to achieve this? I don't know. Just freak out. And I felt so overwhelmed. And I was like, how am I going to do this? And I just said to myself, I'm going to put so much effort into my healing and take one step every day. And that even scared me. Oh my God, this one step every day seemed so overwhelming. It was like, oh my God, this is a huge, massive step. What am I going to do? I can't even achieve that. So I broke it up into milli steps. So I broke every one step into a baby step. And so I pushed myself forward just a little bit every day. And when we're at the start of it, we have to be kind to ourselves, because we are going to go into that overwhelm. We're going to go into that freak out, because this is an unknown territory. We've only known this poverty consciousness, this lack mentality. Who am I to achieve this? This lack of self-worth, this like, am I good enough to do this? Do I have the capabilities of doing this? And like, we can all learn. And we can all, we learn from our experiences as well as learning new things through courses and stuff. But we can all achieve anything we want to achieve. But we get into this mentality. So this is imposter syndrome. It's like, oh my God, who am I to be successful? Who am I to do this? Who am I to achieve anything? And that in itself sets us back. That puts us into overwhelm. We're like, oh my God, I'll just stay in this matrix system. I'll stay conditioned. I'll stay in this shit reality. And I won't move forward. But what we need to do is start to believe it. And that's the simple thing that all we need to do. Have a vision. What is your vision? What is your goal? What is pulling you forward? What lights you up? Look into that. Feel that. And when you feel it, and that's what did it for me. When I discovered this was my passion, and I wasn't really discovering that coaching was my passion. It was always inside me. I've always helped people, even as a teenager. And I have a little piece of paper from when I was a teenager. We went on this retreat, and everyone in the group had to write, something about each other. So like this piece of paper was everyone in the group writing something about me. And more than one of my friends had said, Jesus, Angela's really good to talk to, really easy to talk to. I can always go to her for advice. And also said that I was crazy, which are two things I still am. A little bit crazy, but someone people go to for advice. So from a very young age, coaching was in me. So when I really discovered that this is where my path was, it lit me up again. I went from absolute zero will to live, I had relapsed so much because of toxic dynamics I was in. My health was deteriorating, and my mental health especially. And I had no fire in me until I really discovered that this was my passion. And I said to myself, this is it. I have to do it's not that I want to do it. I wanted to do it, of course, but I was like, I have to do this. This is something I have to do. There's no way I can't do it. Like, this is it. Like, and I when you really discover why you're on this planet, it's like, really, that's enough of a motivator. You really kind of go, I have to heal. I have to get better. I have to succeed. So I took baby steps all the time. And initially I was still in the depths of my healing, and like, it was still in freak out mode. So, but I watched a few webinars, right? And I initially was after watching a few live events with Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. And I watched a couple of them, and they really sparked me up. So I decided I'll take little baby steps. So I watched more webinars, more masterclasses on coaching. Then I was presented with a course on coaching. And then I was presented with another course on coaching. And like, I've been continuously building up my coaching skills ever since. And that's how I became a coach. And it was all very overwhelming and very scary, but I just knew I had to do it. And I was doing my healing alongside my training. So I was building myself up every single day. And I was becoming the person I've always, the best version of myself, the person I've always meant to be. And this is the thing. We kind of freak out and say, it's funny, like, when even at the start of my spiritual awakening, before I even knew I was going to be a coach, I used to say, it feels like there's an alien inhabiting my body, because we're literally shedding a false belief system that was a skin we put on to fit into the world that we don't belong into. Conditioned reality, generational learning, all this kind of stuff. And when you actually shed that skin and become who you truly are, you're an alien to your past self. And as you're becoming, you're like kind of going, oh my God, this is alien inhabiting my body. But when you actually become yourself, you realize that your false old self was the alien. But it's like, you're in this mentality when you're still in that old energy, thinking, how can I do this? Who am I to be this? But you have to embody it, and like, I use the words fake it till you make it. Now, I don't mean fake as in be fake, because you're not being fake, really. You're actually being really you before you become really you. So, it's like, embody that person before you become that person, because that person is who you truly are. Because this is the thing. We are brainwashed and have been brainwashed for generations into negativity, fear, lack, greed, all of it. This belief that we're not good enough, this belief that we're unworthy. So we have to unbrainwash that, so unlearn that, and then effectively brainwash ourselves into positivity. We have to retrain ourselves into the truth. So you're actually retraining yourself, or training yourself to become the person you were always meant to be. So you're shedding those layers of falsehood, and then you're embodying the person you're going to be. So what you have to say to yourself is, what does the person I want to be look like? No, what does the person you really are look like? It's weird how to say it. Like, this is the person you're supposed to be, the person you're destined to be. So what does that person look like? What does the real you look like? What is the real you doing? And this is the question we ask ourselves. How does a successful person live? How does a leader live? How does a person full of love and positivity and abundance live? And you start embracing that now. You start taking little steps now and acting as if you are that person. Now, obviously, it's not going to happen overnight, but you take those small steps. So you change your habits. That's one of the main ones to go with. And if you haven't read the book, Atomic Habits, read it. It's a brilliant book. But even before I read this book, my mentors were teaching this, and I started to change my habits, because, like, okay, I'll describe this. for people who think that they can't change. Everyone can fucking change. I used to take drugs. I used to smoke a lot of weed. I used to smoke cigarettes. I used to eat unhealthily. I used to drink a lot of alcohol. And I just was unhealthy. I was unfit. I didn't do any exercise. That was my reality. And to do the opposite of those things, it felt impossible. It was like, no, I'll never stop drinking. I was born Irish. No, fuck that shit. Sorry, but genuinely, I swore I'd never stop drinking or any of those things. But I actually stopped all those things. And slowly but surely, I did stop those things. But I was still living in a lack mentality. I was living in, my habits weren't great. I had no morning routine. Okay, I did have a morning routine. My morning routine was I woke up and at not an early hour, 9 or 10 o'clock maybe. And then I'd have breakfast in bed and spend the next 2 hours on my phone. And I just have, it was really hard for me to get started. And I'd already started my course at this stage. Like, the way I used to do it, really, I'd bring my laptop into bed. So I'd be in bed in my PJs doing my courses on my laptop because I just didn't have the energy to get out of bed. That's how much of a relapse I had. I was just I was in this kind of depressed state. And this is at your state. Your state is who you are. And then I watched Tony again in January 24, a year ago, just over a year ago. And like he's like, you change your state to change your story. Are you living as the person that you're supposed to be or you're becoming? And I was like, no, not really. And like, I was really, oh my God, like even the simple habits, like I used to have a kitchen table and I used to eat at the kitchen table. But when I built the bar, I got rid of the kitchen table. And I remember the first time I went to eat my dinner at this at the bar, and I just went, oh, this is depressing. This is so lonely. And I ended up, all my meals I was eating on the couch with a cushion on my lap, or I was eating breakfast in bed. My state was really low vibrational. I was in a low state. I was in this low energy state. I felt alone. And, it's not a success mentality. And then watching Tony again, I was just like, change your state, change your story, change your state, change your story. And I was like, I have to change my habits. And I was like, I'm going to start on Monday. This was on Thursday, I think, the Thursday or Friday anyway. I was like, I start on Monday. And I was like, no, don't start on Monday, start tomorrow. And like, I started from the day after. Like, I had the bar built 3 years before I sat and had a fucking meal at it. 3 fucking years. That's a long time of not being in a good energy. And the morning after watching Tony and realizing I have to change my habits, I have to change my state. I love meditation and I do meditation every evening. And I used to do it at the weekend as well. But I really wanted to get a morning meditation in. I wanted to start exercising in the morning. I wanted just to have this energy of success in the morning. And oh my God, you should have seen me. Oh my God. I started to do this mini exercise routine. It was only literally enough exercise until the kettle was boiled. But it was a start. And that's the thing, like we're kind of so scared to start something or become something that we're like, oh, that's too scary. I can't do 15 minutes of exercise in the morning. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. So I didn't do 15 minutes of exercise in the morning. I literally did 3 minutes of exercise. But it was a start. So the next morning after, and as I said, I was going to do a start on Monday. And I was like, no, start tomorrow. So the next morning I got up out of bed early. And that early for me was like 8 o'clock, I think it was at the time. I'm getting up at 4:30 now. But anyway, this was like 8 o'clock and I was starting to do the few squats in the morning and I was nearly crying going, I want to go back to bed. Why am I doing this to myself? And this happened for at least a month or 6 weeks. Every time I did this bit of exercise in the morning, I was nearly crying going, I want to go back to bed. This is so depressing. But I just knew I had to keep the habit up. Now I do 20 minutes of exercise in the morning. It actually went up to 10 minutes, then it went up to 5, then it went up to 10, and then it went up to 15. And now I'm starting to do 20 minutes of exercise in the morning. As well as doing my morning meditation, as well as do everything that I need. I have this, and this is it, like, oftentimes people use a habit tracker, but what I do is a habit stacker. Stack your habits. So, I started to do one thing in the morning, and then I have my breakfast out on the bar. I was like, I love eating there now. I eat in silence and it's just so peaceful. I have my dinner there now as well, and it's just so peaceful. I love sitting there. You know what I mean? There's no more food in my bedroom, no way. But you know what I mean? Like what I'm saying is like, I started really small. And now I stack my morning habits up. I've got a morning routine now and I've got an evening routine. So I actually stack each habit on top of the other. And that's really a really good way of of remembering to do something. You know, so now I have everything's in sequence in the morning, and I do it exactly as it is. And the first thing I do is let my dog out and feed the cat and the dog, and that's what I do, feed the birds. Then I turn on the kettle is turned on, and then I do my exercise. The first real thing I do is my exercise, because if I don't do it first thing, I'm not going to do it. Then I do my breakfast, then I do my meditation, then I do my shower, then I do my video. And it's like literally all in sequence. But I started tiny, really small, less than 5 minutes of exercise. Now I'm doing 20 minutes. And I feel so good. I'm only, like, this is literally only exercising for the last year and a half. And less than that. And I feel so good. But I started to live, and I started to get up earlier. That was another thing. So I started to get up at 8, and then I eventually started getting up at 7. Then I started getting up at 6. Then I started getting up at 5. Now I'm up at 4:30 every morning because I'm doing a course early as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's it. And like, you know, this is who I am. And this person I am now is alien to who I was. I mean, the thing with healthy eating as well. This is another one that we want to do, but we don't take the habits to change that. Stop buying the junk. If you don't have shit in your press, you're not going to fucking eat shit. I don't buy biscuits. I don't buy chocolate. I was actually buying cocoa at one stage and making my own chocolate treats. Now I don't even do that. It's just fruit. It's, you know, it's grain, it's cereal, it's fruit, or it's my dinner, all that kind of stuff. It's healthy. It's fruit and veg. And it's funny. I was on the phone to my friend lately, and like, you know, I was describing, we were just talking about what we're eating and stuff. And she's like, you know, you probably don't drink fizzy drinks either. And I was like, no, I have water, and I have lemon and lime in my water, you know, fresh lemons and limes in my water. And I was like, who the fuck am I? It just sounded so weird for me to speak it so healthily. But this is it. You just change by making one tweak every single day. I love this quote, Gradarius Firmus Victoria, taking small steps towards victory. You don't have to take a leap in the morning to be the person you want to be. You just have to take one small step to embody what a successful person looks like, to embody what a healthy person looks like, to embody what a loving person looks like. It all depends on your goal. So what do you want? Who do you want to be? Or who you're supposed to be? It's not even about wanting. Who are you supposed to be? Imagine who that person is. Imagine what that person will be doing daily in order to live that successful, loving, abundant, healthy life. And today, it's still early. You know what I mean? Start. Do the thing. Do that one thing of improvement. Do that one step of self-improvement every day. Like, we're so fixated and worried about the end goal. It's like, how do I get there? How do I get there? How do I get there? That's never going to happen. It's so impossible. Because you're looking at these, like the quote, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. I don't know how to say that right, but that's it. Like, you cannot take one step and be 1,000 miles. You have to take one step. And it's as simple as that. So what is that one step you can take today? That one step of self-improvement. What can you do to tweak or change your state? Because if you change your state, it's like, that's it. Like, I was living in this lack mentality, this poverty consciousness, this I can't do this mentality. This is impossible mentality. Impossible breaks up into I'm possible. Change your state. I knew I wanted to be, or could be, or was destined to be this great version of myself, this successful person, this abundant person. But how am I going to achieve that if I'm living every day as a person in lack, as a person that's unhealthy, as a person with no drive? You know, successful people don't get up at 12 o'clock in the day or don't spend 3 hours on their phone in the morning. It's that simple, you know what I mean? Like, you know, me getting up at 4:30, it's ridiculous. But I do, because I want to get my stuff done before I do my course at 9 a.m. So, you know, that's the thing, like, you know, and I remember even saying, oh, I can't do my exercise this morning because I have to leave the house and I have to do this and I have to do that. Or I can't do this, I have an appointment. And I was like, get up an hour earlier. And like, that's it. When I was starting my course at 9 o'clock, I was like, get up an hour earlier. And, you know, now I have plenty of time. I'm actually nearly ready. I was saying to myself, you know, I could get up at 5:30 and I could still be on time for my course. But I'd rather get up that hour earlier, do it in my own time, but do it do it quick but slow. Do it in my own time. And then if something goes wrong or if something, delays me, I still have that extra time. So it's about giving yourself that more time, and it's just a better way to be. And I have a great morning or a great nighttime routine as well. So I go to bed at a reasonable hour. I'm in bed by 9:30 or 10 o'clock. I'm asleep by 10 or 10:30 doing my meditation. Do you know what I mean? So it's all about the way I do it as well is don't just think of it as a task or an effort. When it comes to exercise, eating well, or your skin routine, or going to bed early and getting up early, this is to do with your health. If you want to prolong your life, then look after yourself now. Do the things that are right now. Because if I was still drinking, you should have seen me when I was still drinking and taking drugs. Oh my God, I was well-aged before my time. It was really bad. I was overweight. It was disgusting. I was so unhealthy. And I was literally shortening my life every single day. Now I'm prolonging my life every day by the routines that I have, by the habits that I've changed. So what can you do in order to live your best life? And remember this, you deserve everything that's coming to you. You deserve this life. You have every right to be in this mentality. You do not belong in your past. Do not let your past define you. This is a false belief system, a false toxic system that you are conditioned into. This is learned behavior. You can unlearn that and learn who you're supposed to actually be. And it's weird because you're unlearning the past to remember who you are. You're not actually learning how to be this person. You're remembering that you always had it in you to be this person. So that's the most important thing to remember. You're not becoming someone alien to you. You're actually embodying and becoming the person that you always were before the conditioning got its hold of you. So that's it. Remember that. You're shedding a false skin and a false reality to become who you were always meant to be. So take those little steps forward every single day, baby steps towards victory. And in no time, 6 months, a year, you're going to be completely transformed and you're going to be living your best life. And it all starts with one step. One tiny, tiny, little, mini step. That's all you need. And you will get so far. It's really all you have to do. So don't go down to overwhelming thinking how far you need to go. All you need to do is look at your next step and take that step every day. Change your habits, change your state, and you change your story. So thank you so much for listening today, and I really hope this resonates. If it does, please like and share, and please subscribe to my channel so I can reach as many people as possible. And if you'd like help on your journey, please book me for a discovery call today. Nothing more than to help you on your path.